So I asked my producers, who are really good, I said, give me a guy who really knows the turf, all right, and knows Zelensky. So there's a former ambassador, American ambassador to Bermuda, talk about a good job, appointed by Bush the Younger, named Gregory Slayton, who's written a brand new book, Portraits of Ukraine, A Nation at War. Now, the proceeds of this book are going to Ukrainian charities to help the hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians who've been hurt by Vladimir Putin for no reason. And so this book is, A, number one, worthy of your attention, and B, Gregory Slayton joins us now from Dallas, Texas. So you actually met with Zelensky. When did you meet with him?
Well, thanks, Bill. First of all, it's great to see you again. Great to be on your show.
Sure.
And I agree 100% with your assessment. I was in Kiev last Monday at the invitation of President Zelensky and his team to mark the third anniversary of the brutal and unprovoked Russian invasion. That was difficult, but I was glad to be there. And it was also the official launch date for the book. And I appreciate your mentioning the book because, yes, all proceeds do go to good Ukrainian charities. I was also at the White House I was in D.C. on Friday for that meeting, which, as you described, was a disaster. And yes, there were mistakes on both sides, but President Zelensky was properly briefed and for whatever reason decided not to listen to 11 U.S. senators who know far better than he does how to work with President Trump.
Let me stop you right there. I'm glad that you have affirmed what I said, number one, because I had no idea you were going to do that. Because you didn't know what I was going to say.
No, I did not.
Okay. Based upon what you and I both know to be true, I think Zelensky is immature. I don't think he's got a lot of impulse control. Would that be fair?
Well, I don't ever want to criticize somebody without being in his shoes. You know, Abraham Lincoln was exhausted by the Civil War. Zelensky's lost in 3 years hundreds of thousands of troops, and literally millions of civilians have been either killed, wounded, or dislocated from their homes, their villages. I mean, it's a brutal, brutal battle. Did he make a huge mistake at the White House? No doubt about it. Is he a little impulsive? Yeah, I would say so. But I think also we got to have a little bit of sympathy for the guy because I can't even.
And I think that's a good point. And I do have sympathy for him. He is traumatized. But yes, he knows the only pathway to stop this madness is for Putin to get something out of it. Putin's never going to stop or walk away unless he looks like a winner. Trump knows that. Trump's got to give Putin something, which is why Trump isn't bashing Putin, between the eyes. Because if he does that, it's never going to stop. Because Putin doesn't care about his own people. He doesn't care.
Correct.
But he needs to get out because the Russian people themselves are getting restive. Word of the day, restive. Got 1 million Russian casualties. Putin knows he's got to stop. But he's not going to stop unless he can, save face, can walk away. And that's what Trump's trying to do. Am I right in my assessment there?
I think you are 100% correct, Bill. And the Russian economy is even much worse shape than most Western assessments indicate.
But remember, Putin doesn't care about that. He doesn't care about the Russian economy.
No, I got to disagree with you just slightly there, Bill. He doesn't care about the people from the Stans and North Korean soldiers. He doesn't care anything about them. But the economy owned by the oligarchs who basically own all these things on Putin's behalf. That's why Putin is the richest man in the world,
yes,
according to all Western intelligence services. And when you've got your entire hospitality industry, your entire coal mining industry, many of the non-military industries cannot pay the 25% interest rates that are common if you can get a loan at all and can't find employees. Literally, the Russian economy is 6 months, 12 months from a very, very bad reckoning.
It's a legitimate point, but if you understand Putin, he will go over the cliff if you don't give him a winning persona, I think. All right. He's not going to pull it back. But Trump knows that. Trump is giving him a pathway out. But Zelensky is way over his head. He has no blanking clue. Last word.
No, I completely agree with that, Bill. I think that we as Americans have to remember that, we are the light of democracy and freedom in this world. That's why, yes, President Zelensky was out of line. He did not behave himself as he should have, but we still need to be the light and the beacon, because let me tell you, there's a lot of wannabe Putins and wannabe Xi Jinpings who are, right now thinking, why do I have to bother with elections and judiciary and stuff? Let's just make myself the leader, right? And be the leader for the rest of my life. That we always must stand against.
No, look, the geopolitical landscape is very, very tough. And as I said, I think they're still going to make a deal. You concur?
I agree 100%. Zelensky's already said, he said publicly, I want to sign the deal. So mea culpa. Okay.
I hope it happens. I said prayers at Mass yesterday that it would. I don't want to see any more suffering over there on a part of the Ukrainian people at all. So the book is Portraits of Ukraine, Nation at War. You can get it on Amazon. And remember, the purchase price is going to help suffering people. Mr. Ambassador, thanks very much. I hope you'll come back, and I hope things evolve the way you and I see it. Thank you very much. All right, so Donald Trump is addressed tomorrow night. Tomorrow I'll have something for you. But it looks to me he's got to do Ukraine, right? And he's got to do Doge, and he's got to do the economy, the high prices. So we know those three. It's not State of the Union, by the way, because he just got elected. It's like, okay, here I am, I'm Donald Trump. I'm giving you an assessment of what I'm going to do or try to do in the House chamber. And we wouldn't have Nancy Pelosi ripping up anything behind him. And I hope he is disciplined in his remarks, President Trump, tomorrow. Obviously, we're going to be all over this, so stay with us. Democratic response is going to be by Senator Alessa Slotkin from Michigan. Don't know her. Supposed to be a moderate. We'll see. Media madness. So here's a very interesting story. A few years ago, NBC News reported, anonymous sources, which you know how I feel about them, that in a 2022 phone call between President Biden and Zelensky, Biden yelled at Zelensky. All right, this is NBC News reporting this from anonymous sources. Quote, Biden had barely finished telling Zelensky he had greenlighted another $1 billion in U.S. military assistance for Ukraine when Zelensky started listing all the additional help he needed and wasn't getting. Biden lost his temper. People familiar with the call said, the American people were being quite generous and his administration, the U.S. military, working hard to help Ukraine, he said, raising his voice, and Zelensky should show a little more gratitude, unquote. Now, do I think that is true? I do. I think it is true. Because Zelensky is immature. Not good. You work hard to support yourself and your family, but when the bills are higher than what you earn, you swipe that credit card to cover the difference. And the debt keeps adding up. But if you own a home, my friends at American Financing can help you break that cycle. American Financing is saving people just like you an average of $800 a month. Think about what you could do with an extra $800 every month. And even better, costs nothing to find out how much you can save. All it takes is a quick phone call to American Financing, and if you start today, you may be able to delay 2 mortgage payments. So please call American Financing today. Start your journey towards being credit card debt-free. 888-462-9557. 888-462-9557. AmericanFinancing.net. So again, what we do here, just so you know, is we have usually one guest a program, sometimes 2, but usually 1. And I said to my people, I don't want partisans. unless I'm going after somebody, I don't really want that. Okay, that doesn't serve anybody. I want people who are smart, different points of view, can state their case. It's much more beneficial to you, the viewer and listener. So joining us now from Dallas is a man named Talmage Boston. He's a presidential historian. He's written a book called How the Best Did It, Leadership Lessons from Our Top Presidents. And that is been out about a year, done very well. We did not steal from Mr. Boston's book for confronting the presidents. These are two separate books, although there is cross-section about Abraham Lincoln, of course, and people like that. All right, Mr. Boston, do you disagree with anything in my setup to Trump's speech tonight?
I think it's accurate. I think if you see the Democratic women in Congress are planning on wearing pink, maybe the black African-American Congressional Caucus is going to wear black. Who knows what other things they have planned in an attempt to draw attention to themselves and thereby draw attention away from President Trump. President Trump does need to do all the things that you said in terms of take the high road, talk about what he wants to do, what America must do to turn around where we've been the last 4 years, and to the extent he can keep it professional and under control and not take the bait that will surely come at him from certain members of the Democratic Congress will certainly cause him to have a better overall night. And there's so much going on in the world right now with Ukraine and Russia, with the imposition of these tariffs and what their impact's going to be on inflation, as well as relations with Mexico and Canada and China. A lot of balls up in the air.
Yeah, a lot of important stuff. If you were writing the speech, because I know you wrote for the Dallas Morning News, would you mention Biden, and how much?
I would minimize it, if at all. I mean, his inaugural address, Trump's inaugural address, was thrown exactly at Biden's face with Biden sitting there. So I don't think going back to reiterate those points that were made 6 weeks ago very emphatically is something that needs to be done. I think it would be a great opportunity for Trump to show that he's past that. He's ready to lead now. He's ready to take the country in new directions. He's not about retribution. He's not about being critical of somebody who's no longer in the picture. Let's deal with today and let's move forward tomorrow.
I have a slight disagreement with you, though. If he's going to tell the American people about problems he's attempting to solve, he's got to define the problem. So in the Biden administration, for example, and we're going to do this later on in this broadcast, Medicaid spending went totally out of control, spiraled totally out of control, because the Biden administration allowed the states to abuse the federal money. The same thing with DOGE. You've got to lay off so many people in the federal apparatus because there's way too many, and the budgets are just going through the roof. And he has to apply that to Biden in order to get sympathy for his firings, for example. Am I wrong?
Well, I think he needs to address the problem. And obviously the problem was caused by his predecessor, not by him. What I was meaning by my remarks is don't make it personal. It's fine to define the problem that he's now trying to tackle. We know that he didn't cause the problem, his predecessor did. But let's talk about what we're going to do about the problem.
So don't call him Sleepy Joe. You don't need to sleepy in this. you just need the facts. Now, the Ukraine thing, he's got to get that up top. We hear rumors of an announcement, but I guess they're tamping that down. NBC is reporting that the speech is going to be about rising American power, about how under Trump's leadership, America's going to reassert its power in the world. That's going to be an overarch. But Ukraine is the beginning of that. Now, Trump's kind of caught because he can't say to the American people, here's what I'm going to do with Vlad Putin. He can't lay out his negotiating tactics. But at the same time, he's got to explain why he's not hammering Putin, who is as evil as they come, right? How would you handle that?
Well, Trump obviously has very specific ideas about how he wants to negotiate this deal. He's met previously with Putin. He's obviously now met with Zelensky. He's trying to figure out the best possible angle and gaining information along the way with each transaction, each communication, each observation. I don't think in his own mind he's established a set strategy for how he's going to deal with Putin. He obviously doesn't want to set anything back. He wants to think that whatever he does moves his position forward. He obviously wants to achieve a peace. I think everybody wants that. The question is under what terms, and is it going to be something that America's going to be happy with, that Europe's going to be happy with, or not? Is he going to look like Putin's foil, or is he going to look like he ultimately wins the negotiation? He darn sure does not want to look like Putin's foil. That would be a disastrous
Do you think he has to explain why he slapped Zelensky around? Do you think he has to go into a micro on that?
He probably will go into a micro. Do I think he has to? I think he needs to offer a brief explanation as to why he thought it was important on television in the Oval Office, something that's never happened before, to have this kind of an angry confrontation with somebody who in many respects should be our ally, although he was not exactly on his best behavior. So I think some explanation is necessary, but hopefully it won't go on and be too micro and won't involve too bad of personal criticism of the way Zelensky handled himself, because that's not going to advance the ball.
You know, if I were Trump, I would praise Zelensky. I would say, look, I understand why he's so emotional about it. His country's getting battered. You got 1 million people lying dead. You get 8 million fled the country. I would almost be generous to Zelensky. That would just discombobulate the opposition, number one, and send a message to the world. It's not personal, where I think it is a little personal myself. I think Trump is offended by Zelensky's swagger and sense of entitlement. I saw it. It was visible. Zelensky feels he's entitled to the United States' largesse, where he isn't.
No doubt that Zelensky, and I think today I saw something, he's come out and realizes that he handled it improperly. This was not the time or the place or the manner to deal with this very delicate situation. I do think almost all Americans are pulling for Ukraine, and certainly nobody's pulling for Putin that has any sense at all. And so he knows where the American people want this to come out, and it's his job to orchestrate it with the best possible deal, and his job to bring an end to this war that's been going on so long.
Well, the president didn't ask me. I have to be upfront because sometimes he does. But if he had asked me, I would say, be a little conciliatory to Zelensky. Just send a message that, look, we understand your emotions got the better of you. And, when you're seeing people die all over the place, and there's no doubt that Putin's the most evil guy on earth, but if Trump wants to deal with him, he can't say it. Wouldn't you agree with that? If Trump wants to get something out of Putin, he can't call him the most evil. My book coming up is Confronting Evil. I got Putin right on the cover. But I'm not negotiating a peace deal with the man. Trump can't do that. Am I wrong?
Well, anybody who's ever been involved in a negotiation knows you don't start the negotiation by spitting in the guy's face or doing things to aggravate the guy. The old adage, if somebody likes you, he'll give you the benefit of the doubt, and if he doesn't, he won't. Negotiations necessarily involve compromise, and nobody wants to even think about compromise if you've been personally insulted. So,
right, and Zelensky has not been in that compromise zone. I want to be fair and point that out. Final question: you're a presidential historian. I believe that Trump is going for the gold here, and I know that because he's discussed it with me. He wants to be on Mount Rushmore. I mean, can't be on that mountain, but he can buy his own mountain. He can put his face up there, and I hope he's thinking about his legacy tonight when he delivers the speech, which is an important speech, obviously, because pettiness doesn't get you on Mount Rushmore, right?
Well, the great presidents understand the concept of magnanimity, taking the high road, not taking the bait to your critics, seeing the big picture, seeing it through, not getting bogged down in petty quarrels. And not that Trump has proven himself to be a student of history, but even with a skim reading of history, you'd know that's the way you behave. Trump's been involved in hundreds, if not thousands, of negotiations. He understands dealing with people in the context of negotiation. And what happens in this Ukraine-Russia will definitely set the tone, I think, for the rest of his presidency. So this is extremely important, and he knows that. And hopefully he's going to come up with the best strategy that doesn't get personal, keeps all the objectives in the front of the mind, doesn't get sidetracked by personal attacks, and gets us to the goal line sooner rather than later.
That's a good point, that he knows that this Ukraine thing is a linchpin for the next 4 years. Mr. Boston, thanks very much. Really appreciate it. The book, again, is How the Best Did It, Leadership Lessons from Our Top Presidents, Talmage, Boston. There is a growing real estate crime out there. The FBI calls it house stealing. Criminals forge your signature on one document, file it with a fake notary stamp. Just like that, your title's gone. Then criminals can take out loans or sell without you knowing. So, when is the last time you checked your home's title? Probably never, and the scammers know it. That's why I trust Home Title Lock's $1 million triple lock protection. You get 24/7 monitoring, urgent alerts, and if fraud does occur, they'll spend up to $1 million to restore your title at no added cost. Please go to HomeTitleLock.com. Use promo code BILL250 now for a free title history report and access to your title expert. $250 value when you sign up. HomeTitleLock.com, code BILL250. Last year, investors scored the highest profits in decades. Unfortunately, the rest of us were held back by stacks of bills and credit card debt. Well, Done with Debt has found a solution. They created a brilliant new strategy designed to tackle debt, put cash back into your hands, so you can finally save, invest, and live your life in comfort. Done with Debt goes head-to-head with credit card and loan companies. Their team of negotiators and legal experts work to significantly reduce your bills, eliminate interest, and erase penalties. Bottom line, Done with Debt helps turn crushing debt into financial freedom. But some of their strategies are time sensitive, so please don't wait. Get the life you deserve. Visit donewithdebt.com. Talk with one of their strategists, absolutely free. Visit donewithdebt.com, donewithdebt.com. All right, on a more mundane basis, but he's everywhere. Trump doesn't sleep. So now he's telling the mayor of Washington, D.C., the far-left Muriel Bowser, you better clean up the district, madam. Quote, True Social. We have notified the mayor of Washington, D.C. that she must clean up all of the unsightly homeless encampments in the city, specifically including the ones outside the State Department near the White House. If she's not capable of doing so, we will be forced to do it for her. It's not as threatening as Hamas, but this is nonstop. So Bowser can't do it because she doesn't want to do it. It's a far left person. She doesn't care if there are homeless encampments, drug addicts running around, carjackings. She couldn't care less about that. You know? So Trump did sign an executive order focused on beautification, clearing homeless camps, tougher prosecutions for gun crimes and nuisance crimes like public urination and graffiti in Washington, D.C. That's already in play. So now he's going to, I guess, send out the Park Service. That's what he would use to get all those homeless people out of there. And Bowser, does Bowser care about all this? No. It's like Wu in Boston and Johnston in Denver and Johnson in Chicago and on and on and on. They don't care because their constituency is the hate Trump cadre. Okay, you got a pen? I always say watch and listen on the radio to the No Spin News with a pen and paper. You're going to need it for this one. So I'm going to give you smart life information that you should have. So I know, scurry around. Get that pen and paper. here we go. So as you know, BillO'Reilly.com has a concierge member program. That means you sign up and you have a direct email access to me. And if you get in trouble or you need information, we will respond to you in 24 hours or less most of the time. And we will help you. My crew will help you. So I'm getting a lot of letters about taxes, that people owe money, that mistakes are made, they don't know what to do, and tax filing is coming up. So here is the information you need if you have any questions. Throw it on up there. I'll read it for the radio people. Main number of the IRS, 800-829-1040. And the IRS says it gets to you fairly quickly. Let me know if that's true or not. If you have a business and you need information about taxes, it's different. 800-829-4933. If you want to find a free tax clinic, and many people need this, 1-800-906-9887. If you want to schedule an appointment with the IRS office near you, 1-844-545-5640. Okay? So if you are a concierge member or a premium member on BillO'Reilly.com, you can get a transcript of what I just said, and you'll have it there, and I hope you carry them down. Don't mess around with your taxes. That will cause you so much grief. You don't. Smart life. Pay it or go into the system and try to negotiate it. Now, there are tax agencies that negotiate for you, but they charge you a fee. Okay, and I'm not recommending anybody on that. I'm just telling you what your options are. If you do contact the IRS, and this is important as well, on the table in front of you, you got the phone, you got the table, you have your social security number, your date of birth, the last time you filed a tax return, the date, and a copy of that tax return. Because the agent who answers the phone or the personnel are going to ask you questions. And you want to be stammering around. And get the name of the people you're talking to, not just first name, not just Natalie. I talked to Natalie. Natalie who? I don't know. It was Natalie. Hey, there's 100,000 people working for them. Some of them are named Natalie. And that just doesn't go for the IRS. Because anybody you're talking to about any business at all, get their full names. If they won't give you the full name, the end of the conversation. That's it. Okay. Smart life. ABC News, laying off 200 people. And I'm really sorry. I worked for ABC, and I had a very good experience working for them as a correspondent under Peter Jennings. Okay, this is just letting people go because ABC is doing bad. That's it. Most of the hemorrhaging is in Good Morning America. So 10 years ago, Good Morning America averaged more than 6 million viewers a day. They're down to about 2.5 million and sinking. That's a 56% drop. Why are they sinking? Two reasons. A, you don't learn anything on Good Morning America unless you want to make an omelet. Okay? I mean, they're not giving you anything. There's nobody there. They're just ha, 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 ha. And let's go to the weather. Okay, fine. You can get that on your local. You can get that on the internet. And the second thing is that people aren't even watching network TV anymore. It's too boring. So they're, when you're down 56%, you can't pay. That's why Doge is cutting all the government jobs, because it can't pay. We're bankrupt here in the United States. Now, ABC Disney's not bankrupt because of the theme parks and some of their movies, but they're hurting on the TV side. Thank you for watching the No Spin News. To watch the full episode anytime on BillO'Reilly.com, please sign up to become a premium or concierge member. Visit BillO'Reilly.com to sign up and start watching today.